open our meeting at 7:03. Welcome, everybody. Why don't we get to our first item today? I was just
Okay.
looking for that. Here we go.
Sorry, I'm doing this all on my phone. Jeff Claude, Neil Bruce, Rich. Um,
Does everyone have has everyone received the
Not
agenda for
yet.
tonight?
I
Oh,
see
okay,
the
that's
Oh,
agenda.
oh,
right.
yes,
Yeah.
everyone has the agenda.
Okay.
Church.
I haven't found it in my email. Would you mind
Motion.
resending, Dylan?
Sure.
Thank you.
So why don't I open up our first piece of new business? So, well, actually, we call to order. There's no public comment unless anyone would like to say something. And our first order of business is our direction and purpose. Let's take a look at the charge. We're going to discuss the original charge of the committee and how the group would like to proceed, because it seems we've accomplished quite a lot, but there's also more that we want to do. We want to move a little quicker. So why don't we take a look at our charge to see what we can do?
Yeah. So,
And if you want,
Brian,
I
if
can
I.
share it. Make
Oh,
me a
yes.
co-host and I can share it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Let's do that. Make co-host. Yes.
All righty. So let me pop this up so we can take a look at it.
All right. Oh,
All right, make it not blue, and there you go.
perfect.
Can everybody see that?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Just
And the
making sure.
mosquitoes came out, so I moved inside.
Mosquitoes love a good, charge.
Of course, why
we
wouldn't
lost
they?
we lost
Did that just
the
disappear
whole
on you?
stream,
Yeah.
and now we're
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, I just moved it, so that was me. There you go.
There it
There we
goes.
go.
Thank you, Brian.
That's it? Okay,
This was the motion for the charge. That's what it looks like to me.
The motion
So-
for the charge. Okay. And then
So-
I guess there's a second document, Brian, that I don't have readily
I'm not so,
available.
I'm not so
Okay.
sure there is. This is all I've got too.
Okay. Just making sure that it's the same thing.
Yeah, this is what I have in my folder at work.
Okay.
I don't think
Okay.
I have another document. This is also what I gave Kathy when we met last, Brian.
Okay.
So is just some history. Was this set up at the direction of the town council?
I wouldn't know.
Okay.
I believe it was set up at the direction of the council. However, I don't know who initiated it or if it was coming from the public and members of the council decided to create this committee.
Mhm.
But this is our, I guess, motion or charge, kind of our
charge.
guidelines.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of how I even found out about this and got onto onto this committee in the first place. I mean, it's
Yeah.
10 years ago.
Yeah, I
So
remember
from what
CJ. I remember CJ reaching out to a bunch of people, and we actually had an informal meeting at the police department, and they kind of broke us into two groups: one that was going to be on this committee, and one that ultimately became Bike Walk BWF.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it was,
that's what I recall too. Yeah.
it was CJ and John
Yeah.
who initiated everything. And then exactly like Neil said, they well, this committee was formed a little bit before Bicycle Friendly Farmington was.
Yep.
That came a
Yep.
little bit later. And that's when I made the mistake of raising my hand. And the rest is history. Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
about 6 months apart, I think.
And
Okay.
I think it was really, at least initially, aimed at getting the federal certification of a bike friendly community.
Mhm.
And that was at the desire, I guess, of CJ and John, I guess,
Yeah.
representing the
That-
town council.
That would
Okay.
make sense because the 2019 bike application was a renewal.
Yep.
And I believe they're 4 years, so that means you would have gotten your first bronze in 2014.
2014 to 18. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds right to me. That's and if I recall, I got asked and couldn't do it at the time. I was sitting on too many boards, but eventually I got strong-armed.
Okay. So
All
that's
right, guys.
helpful that it came, it looks like it came from the town council.
Yes. Yes, it does.
Okay.
Where did that
Now-
go?
With your last one, Brian, all the
There
way.
There we
you
go.
Now with that, obviously there's not a lot of language here, so it's a very broad charge. So we are to prioritize and recommend actions as outlined in the League of American Bicyclists bicycle friendly feedback report. So once we get our report, we can have some action items to act on.
I mean, we've still got action items from the 2014 one. You know,
Oh, I'm
I don't
sure we
think
do,
I
yeah.
don't think we need to wait to.
No,
It's
but
kind of
these
what
would
we
be
can
new,
work
and
on,
they'll include the, everything on there. We'll have a full complete list with today's standards because, Bruce and I talked about this a lot. The 2014 standards were a lot lower than
Yeah,
today's
in
standards.
fact, I would argue they're almost totally different.
Yeah,
There's a lot of different verbiage. There's, the other thing that's not here, and it should be, is to and I don't know what the verbiage should be, but to act as liaison essentially to engineering, in the discussion of bicycle and pedestrian facilities and safety in regard to new facilities and rebuilt facilities in the town, or something along those lines.
yeah, that's kind of
So,
that.
so can I make a
Yeah.
motion to have a subcommittee and then we can talk about this in the subcommittee format and maybe add on to it or work on it a little bit?
Brian, what do you think do you think changing the charge is necessary?
Let's I'm looking at what we have here now. If we look at the first one, to prioritize and recommend actions as outlined, are we doing that, and does that still need to be done?
That still needs to be done, and I would probably say we're loosely doing that to some degree,
Okay.
unless someone else disagrees.
Mhm.
Yeah, I would say I think that's an accurate thing to say. I mean, I think if we were to change some of the wording here, for instance, the acting as a liaison with engineering, what you'd say as a corollary to that particular statement is as amended from time to time by the League of American Bicyclists, because whatever was valid in 2014 is certainly 10 years later quite substantially changed.
Yeah.
Just to give you an
Yeah.
example, and maybe that's what you do with
Okay.
this. Maybe you just say, as amended or as updated from time to time. But Ron, your point is taken. I think we could spend hours just talking about this tonight.
Yeah.
Maybe we just loosely go over what we have here before we see if there's anything we need to change or add. Because I'm
Sure.
curious about the next one, to provide community outreach for bicycle related promotions and events.
That's
I know that
that's BFF.
Yeah,
Well, but then you have to consider the outreach that we are going to be doing for the town drivers, for safety
The
driving.
safety course, yeah.
Yep.
Safety course,
Point.
educational aspects.
Yeah, we have
Right,
some things
we
in the
are
work that have
actually-
yet to come to fruition.
Yes. So to some extent, it does cross over with Bike Walk, and we've known that for as long as
Yeah.
I've been here, and even a little more so now, I guess, because we've only got, well, just a little more so now.
Yeah, and I know that this is something that we do, and that there's some things that we have yet to finish or to,
Yep.
get done. But I think overall, is there anything that we need to add to that in terms of community outreach, promotions and events?
I would, only add maybe surveys, like take public, input.
Actually,
And
that's a
then-
really good, that's a good point.
But that's really it, and it kind of falls under community outreach by definition anyways.
Yeah.
It does, but
But
if it's not on the charge, does it mean that it's out of mind? Have we really done that? Because I'm really curious to know if we've done that.
There was a survey done when Bruce Sear was with the group, 3 years ago?
Okay.
Ron?
I think
Yeah,
that's
Doug
2015,
kind of-
maybe.
Doug kind of put that together. It was a good,
Okay, maybe it's
survey.
longer ago than I thought.
I've still got it actually.
But anyways, Ron and I talked this past week, and a survey to the general public is something I think we should look for by the end of the year. Try and get something
Okay.
put together.
Is that something you think we need to do regularly, like annually or semi-annually? What do you guys think?
I think a survey every other year might be
Yeah.
good. I think every year would be too repetitive.
Yeah, I think every other makes sense, but at the same time, we really should add to our webpage,
Yes.
the previous survey results. Like if
Yeah.
we look at the webpage, there's really not that much concrete on there. If I want to find out what we've done, survey results, and we've done all of that. And so it'd be great to see, hey, here's the marker, here's where we stood with the survey last time. And I'm not a statistician, but I think there's ways of writing surveys where whether you ask the same thing again, do we move the needle or not?
Yep.
Are we improving or are we slipping backwards? Especially to what Bruce mentioned with, the higher expectations everybody's got now 11 years later. How are we doing?
So if I can just make all of you hate me for a minute, we
Possible.
come to these meetings all the time and we say, we need to do this, we need to do that. And then after the meeting, the we goes away and it doesn't come back until the next meeting. So we, as a group, need to each take something and do it during the month. So when we meet again, we can say, okay, you've done this, you've done that, you've done that. Not, oh, you've done that, and who else has done that? So we don't have to go any deeper into that, but I hope you understand what I'm saying.
I think we do need to go deeper into it.
Okay.
Because we're, looking at the motion, we're making recommendations to the town council for immediate and long-term plans. And so now we're making recommendations. So Brian, how does our meeting, get shared to the town council? The things that we discuss, maybe I need to participate in town council.
No,
I'm just
great
curious.
question. That would be wonderful. But I'm happy to share with you. Actually, what they did was this year when the new town council came together, they changed the structure of the town council meetings. Previously, once a month, we would go through every single committee. And now they only hear from 5 committees unless someone wants to add something to to the meeting. So it would be up to me to add something to share news, and which I have done. And we were asked to do it once a quarter. So I've given 2 reports for us so far this year, but it's not every month like it used to be in previous years.
Okay.
Yep,
When,
so
you did-
when is the next report?
The next report would probably
coming up
be, let's see, it would have been September, but I can give
Yeah.
it in October. I can add it to the list.
Okay.
So I can do a report. The
Uh,
last
Yeah,
report I gave, the cup handle, funding that we received. Now what I was hoping to share was that, it was in place, but it's not quite in place because there's, as Dylan was saying, there's some things we need to get in place so that we can start getting this plan in action. And
Yeah, in
getting,
fact, just
going out-
last night at the meeting, Brian, we had the resolution pass.
Yeah,
Oh,
we did
good.
pass that last night.
I was gonna ask about that. I know that you need that. And if I talked to Deep, but I talked to Kim Bradley just the other day, just to see where it was. And I believe you're very close. I think there's just a couple of transmittal documents, I believe, Dylan, and that should be
Yes.
it.
Yep, yeah, so now that we have the
So,
resolution signed by council, I need, actually, I think Devin just sent it to me this afternoon, from Maureen, our Maureen Frank, our town clerk. She signed it as well.
Good.
And I can start sending documents over to Kim Bradley at Deep and her team, and they can start finalizing the contract. I've got it on our project with them right now anyways that I need by the first week of October, so they're likely piggybacking, writing the 2 Farmington contracts off of each other right now. So
I'm sorry,
we
can
should have it soon.
I'm sorry, I think we jumped ahead to the jug handle. Can we
Yes.
go back to the charter and then come back to the jug handle at the appropriate time?
Yeah.
I don't want to lose sight of
Absolutely.
the conversation we were having.
You know,
Yep, no
so
problem.
so from what
Okay.
Ron, I think accurately mentioned is that, in this committee, we're making recommendations to the town council. And with Brian as the representative, all of these different tasks, my impression was that, we let the town know, and here's the things that we've got to do. And then the town comes together with the resources to get it done, whether it's with the Economic Development Council or internal hours or rehire people or something like that. So I don't, I think we're all, we'd like to see more progress being made.
Yeah, and the way I read this now, right? Because I always thought that we were more of a town committee and that we were making recommendations through Dylan to the town, right? And understanding that other folks in town hall have to support what we're doing. This actually kind of flips it, right? This puts more of the onus, the way I'm reading it, on the town council. So, for example, the signs that Ron and Dylan met on, to go through the flats that haven't gone in yet. That was an idea that we came up with. We didn't recommend that back through the town council. We were working directly with Dylan on that. Should we be working more through the town council and then having somebody on the town council push the town to make sure that, or work with the town, not necessarily push, but work with the town to share what we want done, and work with them to see that either it gets done or it doesn't. I guess I'm trying to clarify that part of our
Great
role.
point.
Because we can sit here and pressure Dylan, and Dylan's not the decision maker, right? And I'm sure he feels a
Yeah.
lot of heat sometimes, that's not intentional, but he's the representative of the town on this. So yeah, I don't know what to do with this charter. How we actually get things done is kind of what I'm struggling with now.
Neil, I had some, and Brian, feel free to jump in at any point,
Yeah.
being the council expert, but I had some thoughts about this when I reviewed the charter recently, or charge recently with Kathy and Brian, that we should be sending at least yearly, apart from my reports and from Brian's reports, but a yearly cohesive letter or having one of you as members of the committee to stand in front or to have Brian maybe present a letter to town council to share those types of ideas, like you know, the wayfinding signage through through the Highlands and other neighborhoods immediately adjacent to the trails, and for the signage through the flats, and for the speed limit sign off of Route 177 heading down towards Depot Place and that trail crossing there. So I think putting things in front of the council is kind of what we're all meant to do here. I mean, smaller things like I'm still working on the fence removal. Carolyn, don't worry.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I went to do it myself, but that's a longer story. But to deliver feedback to town council about how we're doing compared to our surrounding neighbors, how we're doing compared to the progress of the League of American Bicyclists reports, and how we're doing as a community for what the community wants. Now, I think we're missing what the community wants because we haven't done a survey in some time. I think that's a fairly easy thing to get put together. We'll all put some questions together. I can make the survey. I just need the questions type thing. But I really think that in the future, for the remainder of this year and foreseeable future, we need to be thinking more of a advisory council to the council, and push it that way.
Okay. So
And I would,
so that, I mean,
Go
that's
ahead.
great, and that's great clarification. So if we were gonna, well, I guess I'd look for some direction for, and what I'm sure we'll talk about safe streets and things like that later tonight. But you know, Ron and Carolyn went to the Board of Ed meeting and talked about curriculum. Should we have gone to the town council first, and then, you know, if they wanted us, somebody from this committee, to go speak to the Board of Ed, we could have done that. You know, is that a more effective approach to get the town council behind us?
well, I think it depends on what you're trying to do. The town council doesn't really advise the school on what to do. So if we're talking about the safe ride to school thing, that is a Board of Ed thing. And I did reach out to the Board of Ed and I did not hear back from them because I wanted to
Okay.
ask how we could get a few things through. But I think to your point, Neil, what I have been doing at the town council level has been reporting on what we've accomplished. I have not been reporting on what we hope to do and to ask for support in doing that. That is something that I can adjust and maybe
Okay.
bring.
Yeah.
I don't know that if that brings heat to the fire, you know, but it's something that I can do.
Okay.
Rather than
Yeah.
talk about accomplishments, talk about some of our goals and what we'd like to do.
Yeah.
And see how I can garner support for getting that accomplished.
And from my level, Neil, you know, it's no secret I'm not the, you know, head honcho at town hall, so to speak. But you know, a lot of I do take everything that we talk about here and I do try and get those things done. However, oftentimes I find myself in a battle with department heads and whoever it may be. It's not you know, anything hostile by any means, but it's more so, okay, Dylan, where are we getting the money for that? And what's not being done this year that we planned on doing that we now have to take funds from to get this done?
Right.
So it's kind of a planning thing. That's why the council needs to be more, I would say, involved or more, I guess, guided by the committee that we all sit in. but primarily that's kind of the issue when it comes to me pushing things versus the council who can appropriate the funds.
Yeah.
Because I get projects with a budget, or I make the budget for the project, but that project I get a grant for, and it's funded with outside money from the town, and I do it
Mhm.
that way. I can't just pick
Yeah.
things up unless it's, Neil's house is flooding out and we have to adjust something in the road to fix it, or the trail washout over by in Unionville Center that we had. Those things we can do on the fly, but it does take from other things.
So Dylan, with that, I mean, it's a really good explanation. And, when you take it out of the fly, it comes out of that, bucket of, just in case other money.
Yeah,
And,
and
so we'd like to get more stability, so we can get some of these projects done without having to, have you give up other projects. And so I mean, in my mind, it seems that, we need to approach the town council, to allocate budget to us annually, so we can get these things accomplished rather than have it come out of, people's, rainy day funds from different departments, and, try to make it without really making it seem like it's costing any money at all.
yeah, that's kind
Yeah,
of
so
that's a good point, Andres.
Yeah, and
Okay.
actually, in a similar vein, as I was thinking about this, if this were a corporation, you don't get anybody's attention on goals and objectives until you put some weight behind it, right? Until you hold them accountable, and you say in your annual goals, you're going to do something in support of, in this case, bike safety or improving infrastructure, or something, and then you can get some budget dollars to go along with that. I don't know in a town, I don't know how it works, but presumably Kathy as town manager has a set of goals and objectives every year, and all of her employees
yeah, we have
underneath her. And presumably the town council has a say in that. I'd like us to, what
absolutely.
I'd recommend is that the town council just put something in everybody's job description and everybody's goals related to improving bike infrastructure, pedestrian safety, however you want to word it. I was thinking, I'm actually the deputy registrar now, so technically I'm a town employee, part-time, working in the registrar's office. You could even hold the registrars accountable. They could go out to a bike event and set up a registration table, right? Everybody in town, and until we do that, we're not going to get anybody's attention. So Russ and Kathy, I don't know their positions on this, but I do sense that there are roadblocks, and Dylan, you're bumping up against them and trying to get things done. And if the town council can help you around that by making this an objective for people, if the town council decides that it's important to do so. Right?
Yeah.
I think that's fantastic. And, if we do that and it applies to the Board of Ed, now we've got something that we could push back to on the Board of Ed saying, hey, listen, this is part of your goals and objectives. We got to get it done. And maybe you get some, folks frustrated that, oh, geez, now they're putting more requirements on us, and the Board of Ed, just like every other department, is trying to do more with less, but at the same time, if this is important to the town, the town residents with the town council, basically reporting as proxies, it's got to be there. And, maybe that'll get a little more incentive to have folks get stuff done when, they're actually scored against it.
Yep.
Yeah, and I also believe we had a conversation about this maybe a couple months ago, where we were talking about the thing that really gets the town council moving is the fact that we have the money to do projects.
Mm-hmm.
And we had talked a little bit about maybe doing our own, pursuit of some grants that are going to go toward a specific objective that we have as a group. And if we can come with the objective and with, the grant to pursue to pay for it, that kind of takes the onus off of the town, because the conversation I'm hearing is bandwidth.
So Brian, with that, who's going to seek out those grants and apply for it?
Well,
Typically
I'm
that's
thinking,
myself.
Okay.
but
Yeah.
can't we help you find some grants that we could pursue?
Oh,
Is that a
absolutely.
thing?
Yeah. The grants need
Because
to
it
come
sounds like
from
you
the
are
town.
against the wall.
Yeah, sorry,
Yeah,
I'm
sorry.
sorry, the grant.
don't forget everybody that, that's part of my job description. It's part of what I do, during the day is go find money for projects. That's, I have a pretty good idea of where money is.
Mhm.
I would
Yeah,
also say, I mean, we were talking about like a part-time roles for someone. I know we were talking about Ron getting a part-time role. I think, you know, there are small things, like a lot of small things that we could improve upon, and there's a lot of small grants out there that maybe, Bruce, because you're dealing kind of with the big money, big ticket stuff, like maybe it might make sense for somebody to have a little time, somebody on the payroll to have a little time to kind of chase the smaller things.
Yep. But DOT's got a brand new small grants program, which would be perfect for this.
Really?
I think it's up to 10 grand or something like that. I mean, it's perfect.
Did that just come out the other day, Bruce?
Yeah, it did. Yep.
Okay. I think I saw
And there's
that.
other stuff too, there's capacity grants, you know, well, we can go there at some point.
Yeah, and yeah, and right now we do have a very substantial grant for an advisory committee. I'd say a $260,000 project is no small feat for an advisory committee to get approved by the council, one, and two, we'll be executing, this upcoming winter probably, searching for a consultant and whatnot, to get that project rolling. And you'll all be included in on that in all of those discussions.
Hmm.
And the town is behind that
Yes.
because the
Yeah.
money's there for. So
Yes,
that's part of the package that makes action happen.
yeah.
It really is a big project that, well, it got a lot of steam when Rich came on board, but
Yeah.
we've really been wanting that forever. So, yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that was my understanding, that was
Happy.
always a big kind of lofty goal, but we have a very actionable path forward now on that. And we'll let the traffic studies and the designs take us where they will. DOT permitting is within that scope of work. So we'll be able to, DOT permitting is really a large obstacle for this,
Mhm.
if anything. They're kind of the largest obstacle right now. And then it would be finding construction money if it is the town that would be building this, if not the state. But yeah, so that project is a good goal to have, and it's reachable.
Well, it's
All
also,
right.
to my way of thinking, it's also a stepping stone too.
Yes.
It kind of sets us up as people that are already starting to look like they're a little successful, and grants beget grants, as they say. So
Yeah.
As you become known as a town, and Farmington already is known as a town that gets stuff done, and that's important,
Yes, we are by far one of the most successful towns with LOTSIP funds, which Bruce, you're very familiar with.
Oh yes.
Basically, those are 100% funded construction projects and design as well. And Farmington is consistently at the top of that board. We're probably within the top 5, if not further up. It's a fantastic program that CROG runs for our region, and we always work closely with them on creating projects, mostly road projects, such as the Burlington Road project is 100% funded through that program, and we do a good job at obtaining the funds and then utilizing them in a typically a lot set project will take 3 to 4 years to get to construction. We're averaging at about 2. So we get the funds and we use them faster than pretty much everybody else.
Yeah, and it's important to note that the CROG and DOT literally, because I've seen them, keeps lists of who's naughty and who's nice. I swear they do. And Farmington is right up at the top. So yeah.
Yeah, thanks for that, Dylan. I feel like
Yeah.
we're getting off the charge conversation a little bit.
Yeah,
But it's all
sorry.
good stuff to share. No, that's okay, because we got to talk about it, because that's what we want to do. Ron, you look like you guys, is this something you want to talk about, the charge, or you got something to add?
Not yet.
Oh, okay.
No. Not yet.
So it sounds like there might be a little tweaking that we could do to the charge.
Yeah.
But I think what's more important to Ron and Carolyn's point, why don't we talk about things that we want to do and goals that we want to try and put in place, and certainly adjustments that I can make to presenting the stuff we want to do to the town council in our reports, rather than just talking about accomplishments. Why don't I start talking more about our goals and
Oh.
finding where we can get
Yeah.
support for that?
Yeah, that's a great
Absolutely.
idea, and I like the idea of reporting and putting things in writing that can be shared with the
Yeah.
council as well.
Yep.
I'd also ask that our minutes maybe become a little more robust and share those minutes or make them available to the town council so that they can see exactly what we're recommending, which will help with your reporting too, because then you can just pull things out of that for your reporting.
And I
I
have
hear
gone
what you're
to,
saying, Neil.
I just going to at one point I was going to just say is I did go to the town council meetings and agendas, and we don't have them listed there on for the bicycle advisory committee. So I didn't see that online. I normally go to our agendas for when I give my report and my notes from our meetings. And I did not talk about the water fountain because it wasn't accomplished. But maybe if I reported on it, it would have held their feet to the fire to get it done. They're just waiting for
Yeah.
a few things to do.
Yeah, we could talk about the water fountain
Okay, well let's
when we
go
talk
back to
about
our.
the Trails
a-
Council.
I have something.
Like Ron, for you, yes. Sorry, Ron. Go ahead.
To the charge, before I forget, where it said outreach, I think we need the word education put in there.
Education and outreach, Ron?
Yeah, well, after I forget, there were two with a comma between them. There were
Okay, let me
two.
pop that back up.
Yeah,
Because I did have a question about that for you as well. And that is, in the charge, in addition to education,
okay, so to provide community outreach for bicycle-related promotions, comma, education and events?
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm wondering, how do you guys feel that it's also important for us to provide, in addition to outreach, where does communication come in there? Because we don't
Well,
specifically say we want to communicate to the community.
In theory,
Well, that-
outreach is communications.
Okay,
I mean, it's kind of de facto, but yeah, no, you're not wrong when you say that. What's also not in there is safety.
right,
Well, bicycle safety, it's in the first sentence.
okay. Okay, yep, that's good, right there.
Are we gonna expand this to do pedestrian as well? Or is
Yeah,
that
good
somewhere
point.
else?
We should change this to include now pedestrians. We have to. Because we're the bicycle and pedestrian advisory committee.
yeah,
I-
let me chat
think-
with the town manager's office on that.
yeah, that's going to be a charter change, I think, because we're changing the charge, right?
Yeah,
Not the charter.
that's
I was pretty
I don't
sure
know
that-
what's in the works. I don't know what the plans are outside of our committee, but let me chat with Devin
So I
Brian
was
about
under-
that.
Yeah,
Okay. I was under the impression that CJ had made that change before he was done. So maybe you want to check into that.
Where,
Uh,
are the charters saved somewhere where we can see them, or
I
is
don't believe
this
they're on the website.
okay?
We certainly have them in the building. And I'll make sure that Devin can find me the most relevant copy of it.
Okay.
Um,
One more thing. So if we can go back to just one more thing, someone mentioned that we need more robust, actually it was Neil, minutes. Now, I know this, that it's really hard to conduct a meeting and take minutes. So if we
I
can
mean,
get
it's
someone,
actually not. I think if you
no?
use, yeah, there are program software now that just, I mean, it records transcripts, and then you can ask ChatGPT to kind of sum it up for you, and whatever ChatGPT spits out, you just edit. Spend a few minutes correcting it and make sure
So
it's
I
like,
have no idea what you just said, but Dylan, can you get on
That's
that?
an awesome idea. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
it's artificial intelligence, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So the Connecticut Greenways Council at the turn of last year, which I'm the chairman of, we went to that in January of this year. It's been an enormous success. It just basically spits out, it pukes out what everyone said. You do have to spend some time annotating it, but it's a much simpler way to do this.
Wow.
that would be fantastic for me.
It makes-
Neil, I agree with you. My meeting minutes are not the best. I'd be the first to admit that.
And we do record the meetings.
Yes, all of our meetings are on YouTube, in case anyone wasn't aware.
If Zoom doesn't have the functionality to take the transcript, you can just feed the audio or the audio and the video into a program that will spit out word for word what everyone's saying. And then you can ask
Full
ChatGPT.
screen.
You can either edit that or ask ChatGPT to kind of edit it for you. But there are
Yeah,
lots of
if-
shortcuts you don't have
that's
to
phenomenal.
if we have that capability, I will certainly attempt using it. Can't promise it will be good, but I will attempt.
And that's something that if it works, I would think just about every town committee, including the council, might benefit from using that.
Absolutely.
I
It
would
can be
think
done.
so
I
as
promise
well.
you, I used to do that for work. So
Yeah.
it can be done.
Oh. So is there a software you use that to funnel the recordings to ChatGPT?
Well, I first had to take the recordings, and I forget what software I used, and it just spit out word for word what exactly everyone had said. I think it was an Amazon, something available through Amazon web pages, I want to say. It was something
Wow.
not hard to find. Or Microsoft might do it. There might be just a software that does it.
What a world.
Sounds like something for Brian and IT to work on.
It's not hard. I think
Yeah.
I don't know if you necessarily even need to get IT. My husband was just trying to chime in. He's the IT man, but yeah, it's really not hard to do. And what you would do then is you have a word for word transcript. And at that point, if you want to just copy and paste, you can, or if you want ChatGPT to just kind of sum up a few points for you, you can too. It's not hard.
That'd be
Teams will do
fantastic.
that, I guess, but I don't know if they have Teams. Yeah. Yeah.
I know because the Connecticut Greenways Council is a legislatively appointed board. We have to use Teams.
Really?
Teams has so much functionality to it. I used to, again, for work, I used to use it all the time. I worked in like communications for work and using Teams, and there are so many kind of nice apps that go along with the Team suite. So you can do anything with it.
And I'm hazy on this because I know just enough about this stuff to get in serious trouble, but I believe it's a plugin to Teams.
Huh.
Mhm.
I just found an article on it.
Yeah.
If you want, I can forward this one particular article I found to the group if you like.
Sure, just copy the link and put
Use
it in
the-
the chat, Ryan.
Yeah, I'll do that right now.
Yeah.
This
And
this
if
just happens to
we-
be the first one I found. It doesn't mean it's the ultimate one. It's just the first one.
It's a good start.
If we've, if this meeting's been
There you
recorded,
go.
Thank you.
I don't remember if I clicked yes to that when I logged in or not, but usually you see the meetings being recorded, if you're in this meeting, you agree to it. Then it
Yeah.
records it, and then Teams does the transcript on its own. So it should be available, as soon as the meeting's over. And Dylan, when you look into Shannon's account, you should be able to see the recording. And then
Yeah,
from
I'll
that
have to
recording, get the
look into
transcript.
that. I know I can do show captions. Those captions on.
Is this Zoom? I mean, but this is Zoom,
Yeah,
right?
this is Zoom.
Oh, sorry, Zoom, not
No.
Teams. Okay.
But maybe,
sure
I
it's
mean,
got
maybe
something
Zoom can
similar.
do transcript. I don't know Zoom very well.
Yep, I think Dylan's got it.
I can ask our IT people in North Carolina because I've got a corporate Zoom contract. And I guarantee, because we use it for webinars, I guarantee we can do it on Zoom.
Yeah,
I just don't
it
know.
must be-
I just don't know. I don't know how to do it. But I know we
I
can
wonder
do
if you
it.
have to have closed captioning on to record
Yeah,
that.
I just turned that on. So that's what it will spit out.
Hmm. Interesting.
But yeah, Dylan, if you get
Oh,
a chance, maybe mention it to Brian.
Yeah, I'll have Brian and Todd maybe take a look at
Yeah.
if it's something we can do, then I would love that.
Yeah.
I usually find myself trying to play a little bit of catch up after I take a note or something during the meeting anyways. So
But
Yeah.
so Brian, I mean, the point is well made that we should be reporting what we're doing at a much higher rate
Hmm.
to the town council. So
Yep.
Yeah.
so they know what's going on, and they're kept informed. And this doesn't have to be a tome, we can
Right.
we can make
No,
this.
it's going to be like a 5-minute thing.
Yeah,
It's going to be.
yeah.
it's going to be like a, hey, we're here, we're alive, this is what we're doing, and this is what we want to do next type thing.
Yeah. And this is what we're looking for, maybe.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's kind of the format it would be.
Okay. So
Brian,
let's get
could this
back to
be-
our meeting. Go
So
ahead.
would we be able to add, a 1 or 2 sentence thing to the town council chairs, how he sends out that monthly thing?
I
Maybe
don't
if they
get
could
to
mention us,
tell
that'd
him
be
what
great.
to put in his report.
Yeah. It'd be nice.
That would be nice. But yeah, I can say what I want to when I speak. But of course, anyone here who wants to get there and speak to the public as well,
Would that be helpful if we were all there and, asking for
that
more
is
resources from
absolutely
town
something that
council?
would be.
Or is that overwhelming and
I don't think it's overwhelming. I think it's rarely used, but when it is done, it's used effectively. I'd say I'd save it because we have people who talk every week, and that's perfectly fine. But if we have something that we really want to focus on and bring it to their attention, when they hear from the public, they pay a lot of attention.
So I think the perfect opportunity for that would be whether maybe on the agenda for next month, talk about setting a permanent budget for this group. And then we could bring that towards the town council, if a bunch of us spoke to that, once we determine what would be an appropriate amount, maybe we would get some support.
Small
could do that
discretionary
now.
spending.
That's something we might want to also use when we get closer to budget time. But that is coming up pretty soon.
Yep.
So if we put it on their radar now, at least they'll know that we're requesting it. In fact, we just had a request for funds last night from a nonprofit. So it's something that is done. Do we
Right.
know, as long as know what we're talking about in terms of what we want to accomplish and what that might cost, what do you think, Dylan?
It depends on year to year what the goal is. But if it's stuff
Yeah.
like signage around town, replacing existing signage and putting new signage up, I don't order signs myself, so it's hard to say. Maybe $5,000 is something as small as that, maybe 10. It wouldn't take much.
What's the turnaround for something like that, would you say, to get signs,
Signs,
made or approved?
I mean, it can, for a simple road sign, if it's a stock sign, a month or less. If it's something like like a map for the wayfinding trail stuff, like Ron's been thinking of,
Mm-hmm.
that would probably run you maybe $4,000 a sign, and then it would take almost 3 to 6 months to design and produce. Would be
Okay.
my best
So if we
guess.
start working on it now, we could have it done by next summer, possibly, if it gets approved and
Yeah,
done.
yeah, and Ron, I saw your face. I just want to
No, because I can
specify. I
design
mean,
it.
like a map, like a 2x3 map of the
Oh,
Highlands along the trail, showing where the high school is, the town hall, library, and the path how to get there. Something like that would be, a few grand, and like I said, probably 3 to 6 months to design and produce. But those little medallions you were thinking of putting those along the road, those are cheap and easy. It's just finding the right ones.
Is that something that we as a group want to put our effort for to having ready for next summer?
I think
Yeah.
the group would agree, but I won't speak for
Sure.
them.
Okay.
Does it need to
Yeah,
be
I think so.
summertime or, can it just be done when they're ready?
I'm
Uh,
sorry, well, Andre?
if
I
I
would
have a
target spring.
favorable winter and I don't have a lot of plowing, the ground would be frozen. Still anyways. It could be early spring.
Yeah.
That'd be the quickest. It could be done at this point. I don't have any more manpower to give this year for anything. That's
Quickest would be just giving me a screwdriver and a nail gun and I can take care of it.
Yeah, and ask for forgiveness, as they say.
yeah.
We need an Eagle Scout.
We exactly. We usually specify April 1st, just for major signage, stuff like that.
Yeah, it's more in line with a construction season.
Yep. Because
Yeah.
usually we're sending out an RFP. Like the last the yearly budget for Connecticut for the East Coast going there for signage is about $7,000, just to give you an idea. And
Yeah,
that's
I
what-
don't think we need more than that if the whole state's only 7.
Yeah. And don't forget that's replacement, really. We're not really doing much new. So
Yeah.
So Dylan, on the sign topic, I know you didn't have the manpower, the town didn't have the manpower to put the signs in through the flats this year. At this point, my recommendation would be to try to get them in next spring. Riding season is pretty much over now. And what I've heard is that if you put a road sign up and people don't see cyclists, they're just going to start ignoring the sign. So I'd rather have them go up in the spring when there's actually riders on the road, and then Mike
Okay.
connect the dot.
I can understand that.
Okay, I'm making note that we want to get the signs installed by spring.
Yep.
Do we know what signage we want? Do we have a list of the signs that we do want to have created?
I think we have the signs, don't we?
Yeah, we have selected
Oh, we
the
do.
sign off of the state's catalog. I believe it's right from the state catalog. Any signs that we put up that are alongside the roadway have to be MUTCD compliant. Otherwise that opens the town up to litigation and liabilities, should there be some sort of accident, or anything of that nature.
So we've already
Okay.
selected the sign and what it says and all that.
Yeah,
I
it's a
know
3
you and
foot
Ron-
3 foot to
yeah.
pass sign, I believe.
Okay.
And there's a couple different versions. We can always take a second look at them.
Mhm.
So our next step might be selection of sign and then purchase of sign and then a plan for installation. Is that a simple outline of what we need to
That is
accomplish?
a simple outline, yeah.
And we already know where they're going, so we're ahead of the game on that.
Okay, are there any
And
approvals?
with
that we
the
need
goal
go
to get them
through
out,
get them-
I'm sorry,
Uh,
with the goal to
bec-
get them installed by April.
Yeah,
Right,
I don't know if they were exclusively approved of at the last TRB meeting. However, they did talk about both of our proposals. Liked both, however, we're unsure where the funding was coming from for both. So I don't know if they gave explicit approval or if it was when you have funding or like a purchase order, come back and we'll approve. Ron, I think we had 5 sign locations throughout the flats. I think they narrowed that down to 3. However, possibly. But 3 is better than none, right?
Yeah,
So it would be at Meadow Road on both sides, and then Red Oak Hill. So the kind of like the 3 entrances to the flats. You're still gonna pass a sign wherever you come from. You just won't have the sign in the center,
okay.
if that makes sense.
so
Just
2
a
signs on
suggestion
Meadow
too.
Road and 1 on Red Oak?
Yeah, so a sign on either end of Meadow and then 1 on Red Oak Hill after the intersection with New Britain Avenue.
Just another suggestion would be to take the big electronic signs on trailers that you see around town.
Yep.
Plant that in the middle of the flats. Simsbury does this all the time. Just a reminder, put it out there when the signs go up for a week or 2. It says 3 feet to
Yes.
pass.
But can you guys replace the light bulbs in them first? Because I couldn't even read the last one that was on.
I'll,
Yeah, I couldn't even read
Jeff, it sounds like your trailer needs some new lights.
it. Yeah,
Yeah, we just used it. I didn't notice that. We used it for the Dream Ride and it seemed to be fine. I'm not sure.
yeah, when it
I'll,
was
I'll
on,
mention it. I'll mention it to the guy that's in charge of the sign,
okay,
who actually I'll send Brian out something, but I get a request from the lieutenant to have him come into some of these meetings to try to just kind of be another person for more information. He also does a lot of he moves the sign trailer around and does things like that. He's not necessarily the person that authorizes it, but
Is it
for stuff
Corcoran,
like that,
Jeff?
he'd be interested in just kind of being a non-voting member to just kind of be here. He does a lot of the community relations kind of stuff too. So
oh,
Is it
if you
Corcoran?
guys
Does that
are
sign
up to
need to
that.
be reserved?
I'm sorry.
Jeff, does that sign need to be reserved? If we want it for a particular season or a month or something?
No, but there are certain things that might pull it away that, the chief or somebody, that's the lieutenant is, if somebody more important, so to speak, says, hey, we need it, and,
Right.
and they actually think it's a greater need, they'll pull it and use it somewhere
Right,
else.
there is a trump card.
I'm sorry?
Gotcha. I said there's a trump card that can be played.
Yeah. Yeah, there's certain things
Okay,
that might
understood.
do that.
There's need.
Would
All
that
right.
be through Lieutenant Vincent?
Yeah, he's in charge
Okay.
of special projects. This guy is the special projects officer.
Okay.
Who, it's a daunting task because that isn't all encompassing. Whatever somebody decides, hey, let's have something done.
Yeah.
That's the guy that gets assigned it. So
Yep. I've worked with Corey in the past. So
same thing with the school rides. He's awesome.
Yeah.
Dylan, does that include was the blinking 25-mile-an-hour speed limit?
same scenario. Like the idea, however, no disapproval or approval because of the question about how it would get done, funded, and implemented.
Okay,
Okay,
So are they going to come back to that? Is it an open item
I
to try to
think
find funding, or?
Neil, I think if I was able to have a grant ready to fund it and the time to do it, I could go back and get it approved pretty easily. It wasn't. I myself wasn't at the meeting. I had another meeting in conflict, but it was my understanding that it wasn't necessarily a no, but it wasn't necessarily a yes, and that was one of the reasons why.
Do we know how
I-
much money
I
we
think if
need?
I had a purchase order ready to go, I'd be all right.
I
Do we know how
gotta
much
tell you,
money we
I'm-
would need?
Well-
For the LED sign, couple grand at least. I'll put it this way, these come with a pedestal and their own poles, but those rapid flashing beacons at crosswalks, those are 20 grand a pair.
Yeah. But
Um,
the bolt-on speed signs that are sunlight activated, I
maybe
want to say they're
5.
4,200 the last I knew.
All right,
Something
so
like
around
that.
5 grand is kind
Call
of
it
like,
5 grand installed, probably.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
just
I'm
saw
looking
on
for about 5
Ali-
grand for that.
I
And
saw on
then probably,
Alibaba, it's $500 from China.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure. And by the
But
way,
in
you know,
That might be a great subject for our, for a 10 grand, grant.
yeah,
Those
well,
signs.
safety signage, I am 90% sure qualifies for that DOT small grants program.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right. Well,
So
I'll
if-
look
if
into
so,
that and
let's do
I'll
it.
contact my contact at Krog who kind of figures out what's good and what's bad for these grants.
Okay. It's Anna Bergeron's department is sponsoring that that particular grant opportunity.
which
Yeah.
one? Sorry, Bruce, which one? I was just making notes.
Oh, Anna Bergeron at Connecticut DOT.
Yeah, and I'll speak with Elizabeth Sanders at Krog. She's their grant coordinator.
Yep. And she has a very good idea of what's out there.
Yep.
I was just in a meeting with her today. Yeah. She's actually in charge of Safe Routes to School now because Kristen vacated the position for another one.
Oh, okay. All right. I'll speak to her about that too then. Liz, I worked with Elizabeth on her first project with Krog, so been done a lot with her already.
Well, this is Anna Bergeron for Safe
Oh,
Routes.
you're talking about Anna. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, they just threw Safe Routes into her. She's the active transportation division or something like
Yeah.
that. So
But we're looking to fill it. Yeah.
yeah, yep.
All right, so I feel like we've covered quite a lot for new business. We have a couple
Yes.
of really good action items that I believe we can get done.
Yep.
Are you guys comfortable? Or before we move on, are you guys comfortable? Is there anything else you want to add to our list, or do you want to move on to our old business, starting with Farmington Valley Trails Council update? I see your hand up, Ron.
Well, no, I'm not sure where this would fit in, but I know we have to update the town website and explore Farmington we're not utilizing. So, we need a couple people to get together on that. We need articles, we need this, we need that. That's one of those things that gets talked about and then we drop the ball for the month. And we've been talking about getting that fixed and we haven't done it yet.
I can host a small meeting at town hall
Okay. Anyone
if
else?
if 2 or 3 of you would like to attend.
Yes, I will.
And Rich, I see your hand up.
Yeah, just on the subject of the jug handle, now that we got real close to getting this grant for basically design ideas, is it too
Design and
soon?
construction documents.
Yeah, okay. Is it too soon to start putting the application together for the next step, engineering of it? Or do you have to wait till you get this
that's-
step done?
So when I spoke with my consultants, they recommended that I go through everything, and I spoke with Krog consultants, a few different outlets, They recommended going for everything from public outreach all the way to construction documents. So we will have 2 or 3 concept drawings or concept for the trail. Then we will select a concept and move forward with the engineering and permitting of that concept. So at the end of this, design project, we're going to have, 90% complete construction documents that will
Okay.
be ready to go. Or, 90% ready to go.
Okay, so
And
then I
they will
guess,
be permitted through DOT.
and what, what's the timeline? Is that like a year or 2-year progress?
It's, I
Process.
believe 15 months was the average. So
Yeah.
15 to 18 months.
Crog's been doing these in kind of 18-month increments. So assume a year and a half. I think that's
Yeah.
fair.
Yeah, there has
So
to be a
I'm-
traffic study to nail down the signal crossing of the on and off ramps of 84, and there has to be some other studies of that type, as well as some. There's a good probability that we'll need to get some easements in order for the construction of the trail as well.
So on that topic, my understanding, and this is fairly recent public knowledge, the Farmington Historical Society has been working to purchase a rather large parcel of property, 729 Farmington Avenue, which is close to the Hillstead. It's a big old stone building that you can see from the road. I guess it was going to be an Alzheimer's facility, and
Oh,
the
I was
people that
just
bought
about
it
to
want to get
ask.
out of it. So the Historical Society is looking to buy it. My understanding is they're going to zoning in October for the first time. We ought to encourage the zoning board, however we do that. And we can show up at the meeting and talk about this, obviously, during public comment. But I would like to see something in the approval that grants whatever easements, for whatever trail we want to put through there. I believe the president of the Historical Society is in favor of that, so I don't think it'll be an issue for him. But this is an opportunity for a big stretch of land up there to put a trail in that connects to this jug handle. So we ought to lay the groundwork for that now.
Thank you, Neil. I wasn't aware of that proposal.
Actually, when that company submitted the plan for that, they put the trail in there as part of their agreement for the property.
Which
So that
company?
might Livewell owns that property. That's the
Right.
company I work.
Oh, okay.
And,
But Livewell wants to get out of it now. So the
know.
Historical Society, yeah. So
Yes, I
as long
heard
as
that.
it's in that
I
plan.
wasn't sharing
yeah.
that, but since you shared it, I'm happy to confirm that's kind of the plan. And when they put the
Okay.
plans in place when they presented that to the town, they put in the trail and said they would agree to put that trail in if we could somehow have that grandfathered into the Historical Society.
Right.
Absolutely.
So that
I
the
happen to
plan
know
was gonna
Bruce
be
and
placed for
Shannon
that.
from the planning office pretty well at this point.
Yeah.
So I'll speak with them about it.
Okay.
Awesome. That is exciting because I was hoping that would happen at some point. And
Yeah.
I wonder that Hillstead is if they're in on doing that because that's going to be part of their property. I'm guessing if it goes along that side of the roadway, continues
Yeah.
on that side.
Yeah.
I
It's
think
gonna
we
take
need
a
to
big
get our
chunk of
concept drawings first before we approach the Hillstead Museum.
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
the way
Oh,
to,
yeah.
that's the way to do it, is essentially come with a couple of different treatments,
Yeah.
on paper and present it to them. I have met the relatively new executive director. She's only been there a couple of years, but seems at least reasonable. So we'll see.
Yep.
Well, let's hope that happens. is there any other update for Farmington Valley Trails? And thanks for bringing that up, Neil. I was
Okay.
happy to share that.
Yeah.
That's a big component of this. What about the public information seminars? Our second item on old business. Bike repair and community and traveling. I know we kind of had the summer off, but is that something that we can kind of plan for now, or something that can be in place? What's your feeling on that?
What was that again? I know,
The bike repair and the community and traveling, public information seminars.
yeah. So so Matt isn't here and he had a pretty big part in that. We'll have to table that right now.
Okay, we'll table that one. Let's move on to the recreational trails grant update.
I think we kind of gave it
We
already,
kind of covered
Brian.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did. So I would say,
Yep.
unless there's any other comment, we can move on to the TRB comments for open issues.
And we mostly covered that
Kind
as
of covered
well,
that
unless
as well.
anyone has any questions about that information. I'm not seeing any.
Wait a minute, what
Okay.
was that again?
TRB, Traffic Review Board, about the signs through the flats and the speed sign on the posted speed limit sign coming down 177 towards Depot Place.
Mhm.
You mind if I review a couple of our action items that I put down to make sure we kind of covered them all, or the major ones,
Go for it, Brian.
which were more robust minutes and seeing how we can to use Chat GPT minutes or some form of AI to have more robust minutes for this group. The other one
Yep.
is to the signs installed by spring, by April. 2 signs on Meadow Road and 1 on Red Oak Hill Road by New Britain Ave. When our
Mhm.
loose plan is to select the signs, order the signs, and plan for installation by April.
Yep.
The other thing was to see if we could reach out to Lieutenant Vincent, who's in charge of our electronic sign, to see if we would schedule that to coincide with the installing of the signs. Did I
Yeah.
get that correct?
Yeah,
And
we'll
Galen,
probably
you're
do
gonna-
that closer to the sign installation, however.
Right, but just so that we have it in our plan for what we want to
Yep.
do. And then you're going to look into the new grant from the DOT by Anna Bergeron for see if we can get some of those electronic signs with the $10,000 grant that Bruce was talking about.
Yeah, we'll go for that. And if I can find one that's cheap enough, we'll go for the Meadow Road signs or flat signs as well in the same grant.
All right, excellent. And the last thing I have on here is you're going to get a group together to do some updates to the town website, to our webpage.
Yes. Yeah. And if you're interested in doing that, please email me separately and I'll put a little email chain together and we'll select a time to meet at town hall to discuss how we want to present the group on the website.
Do we
Fair
have a
enough.
goal date for when we want to have that accomplished? Is that something we want completed by the end of this year? Is that
Yeah, we
doable?
want that as soon as we can do that. 'Cause
Yeah,
that's
let's try.
so overdue.
Let's try if we can meet before the next meeting in October. I think that'd be doable by the end of the year, having the website updated. So if you're interested in having some say in that, please let me know. And we'll put something together offline at town hall in the next week or two.
All right. All right. Is there anything else? And if not, do I have
survey.
a motion? Oh, survey.
Survey
That's right. Oh,
questions.
That's the first one on my list.
Yeah, sorry. For survey questions, I'm more so interested in figuring out where people want to take their bikes to, where they currently take their bikes to, and why they aren't taking their bikes to certain places. So a question would be like, which section of town do you live in? And answers would be like the Highlands, downtown Unionville, or Devonwood, or an apartment complex, or over by Yukon. those would be general answers, and then it's going to be where would you like to ride your bike to? They'll input an option, or we'll give some generic multiple choice. And then, do you take your bike there now? Yes or no? If not, why don't you? Do you not feel safe? Is it, we'll let them kind of fill in the blank there. But any other questions other than that, I would like to know ahead of time so I can maybe put something together, kind of like a draft survey for the next meeting, so that we can maybe publish that by the end of the year.
We definitely need
or
to
we
have
can-
schools put in there.
Yeah,
all the
sit
different
on it,
schools.
Neil, until spring, to get ridership.
It might be a
to
good idea to
coincide with
sit on it
ridership.
because we have a survey going for right now for anyone in town for the bicycle application for bicycle friendly community. So
Oh,
Oh,
that's right.
yes.
we are kind of have, I mean, we just want to wait until the spring to do
Yeah.
it, but I don't think there's anything wrong with coming up with questions now and getting
Yeah.
the survey page together.
I agree. I still think if you have questions that you would like to see on there, maybe meaningful to you or you think might help point us in the right direction is in terms of public support, please send me an email with those questions and we'll try and put something together, some kind of survey together. But that's all. Thank you.
I will go back to the other survey too. I have it on a hard copy. Hopefully I have it in it somewhere. And there were some great questions in there too.
Okay. Good.
We kind of skipped out. Did we skip over safe routes to school or what?
Probably a little bit.
Yeah, we
we'll figure
did.
it out.
Yeah.
Was that
So-
intentional?
Thanks for bringing that back to the table.
Yeah.
Would you like to speak on that, Ron?
Do
I
do-
can say something if you'd like, Ron.
Okay.
So Ron, myself, and Brian have kind of been working in the background on this for the last, what would you say, about a week or two now. And
Yeah.
I know that Brian, you have reached out to the Board of Ed, and I know Board of Ed has reached out to Ron to some capacity.
Okay.
And we're kind of looking to continue that conversation and hopefully get a Board of Ed member here or some kind of representative from the school as in our charge. We do have a slot for one, and we're also looking to probably present some pros and cons to the to the Safe Routes to School program, so that the board could hopefully adopt that goal and make it a goal for future years to come.
Kind of piggybacking on that, but not.
Yeah.
We also need to reopen. Neil and I and Carolyn and Patty were working on this on the 5th and 6th grade bike curriculum, bike
Yes.
safety curriculum. So yeah. And then before we go, I do have a little bit of it's actually pretty big news that is almost approved, and this is a game changer for Bike Walk Farmington, is that we may soon be under the recreation department's umbrella. Now, what that does is open up so many opportunities for us, and we become part of their program, their email distribution and members and insurance, which is the biggest issue that we've been facing. So Patty, Lily's mom, has actually been working on this, and it's a total game changer for us if that happens.
Wow.
So that's some pretty
Fantastic.
big progress. Yeah.
Good. Thank you
That
for
is awesome.
sharing.
It's just between us and
I hope
whoever's
to hear that. Good luck with that.
Thanks.
Anything else for
I've
the
got kind of
table
a-
before we?
I've got just a brainstorm idea. I know in the past I've brought up pump tracks, at the old Parsons property and whatnot. And
Mhm.
hanging out at Tungus Mead, just watching the kids play soccer. I see where we had the old landfill and the brush dump and stuff like that. There is a beautiful hillside right on the side there that's just got grass that we could easily put just basically a winding trail going down to use, and it wouldn't disturb it. It's not wetlands because it's already disturbed land. It's town-owned property, and it would be perfectly easy to make something there. Who is responsible for that property, and what would be next steps?
The parcel,
Our
parcel, did you say?
it's really our highway and grounds department.
Okay.
Ultimately, that's one of their facility. I guess I would say facilities.
Yep.
I don't know a lot about pump tracks myself, Andres, but could you maybe send me something that might help me explain it to that department?
Sure. Yeah, I could
Um,
probably find, put together a little PowerPoint or something. And
Yeah.
I know Canton just approved a pump track and a bike park on the town property. I know Jan from Benidorm's been working really hard to get that approved. And I don't know why I've got 170 grand stuck in my head, but they got some good money to put that together.
Yeah, we gave them a Rec Trails grant to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
And so basically imagine a trail that's got just kind of rollers, and on the downslope of the rollers you just kind of push your bike down, and just the momentum of that gets speed to go around it. And then the corners would have just banked corners. So imagine a mild version of a BMX track, just on the side of the hillside going down with it. And since it's sort of downhill, people would just coast down it and have a fun time riding it, and then they would ride up to the top again and do it again.
Yeah. This is something that should probably be in our letter or something to town council as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I do know that they're putting together some kind of a committee to decide what to do with that parcel of property, which we have temporarily, where we don't
Yeah.
fully own that. And we're only going to have it for 5 years, but this sounds like a perfect kind of thing that might be put there.
Yeah, I thought so too. And that just seems like that's a huge project to do that. And then I was just thinking at Tungus Mead, it's already there, and it'd be easy enough for us to either build something or have somebody build it on a tighter budget than a full-fledged track in that property. But if we can buy that Parsons property for $1 and put it in there, it'd be fun. But I thought at Tungus Mead, we've already got everybody there, people hanging out on the weekends. There's the bike, the skate parks there already. It's kind of a nice central hub for it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we tried to get that for $1, but then the state reneged on it. And now they want like 10 million for it or something.
Good luck.
Something
Yeah.
crazy.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
So let's go back to Tungus Mead. But I like the idea.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say it's interesting because I don't know that I've ever seen that, but it sounds like fun.
I could find just a link real quick.
Very good meeting, by the way. Very good meeting.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, I could go ahead and next month, take a couple minutes and share. I'll find something good.
Yeah. Yeah, let's
I'd
do
be
that.
interested to
Let's
hear more about it. Thank you. Let's add that to our agenda
Yeah.
for next time.
absolutely.
Thanks, everybody.
So
Do I have
Dylan,
a
where
motion?
where are you taking fences down for Carolyn?
It's just fence rail between two posts over by Daily Grind.
Okay.
I went
Good.
over there myself, Carolyn, to do it, but they're also tightly bound in. I'm just gonna have Parks go with a saw and cut them.
Okay.
That's awesome.
They don't trust me with
So where
saws.
I was actually, I'm glad to hear that. I was going to ask tonight if somebody could do that. Are you doing it south of the Board of Ed building there?
Uh, Yes, just on
Okay.
the back side of the building.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah, where those, what is it, like 4 or 5 parking spots are?
yeah,
I'll do it in more of near the where there's a good stretch of grass between the parking spots and the fence.
Yeah.
And then maybe someday we can get some stone dust there. Next time we go through and touch that up.
okay. It would be nice to get a bike rack there too. I was there on Sunday, I think, and there was myself and while I was sitting outside, there were 3 other people that came and leaned their bikes against the building. So I don't know how we get them to do that, but that would help them, I think.
Okay. I'll keep that in mind. That'd be a good micro grant thing.
Yeah.
Yep. The only other thing I'd like to add for the agenda next month is to talk about a part-time bike ped coordinator. And Bruce, I don't know if that's something that is worth approaching our neighboring towns, if we could split a position maybe, between Simsbury, Avon, West Hartford, New Britain. I was thinking, if we had them for 10 hours a week, that's 500 hours a year, we can get a ton done. And I don't know if $25 an hour part-time is reasonable for a budget, but that seems we can get so much done with that, and that wouldn't cost us too much, compared to what we're spending on a lot of the other things.
Let's discuss that. Grant remuneration for something like that is more like $40 an hour.
Okay.
Still not out of the range of possibility at all. Simsbury's talked about it over the years. I don't think Avon gives a crap about it, but there are some other towns that might be interested. Yeah, why don't you and I talk about that? That's an interesting idea.
Yeah.
Awesome. And can you get back to us next month on
Yeah.
that? We'll put it on the
Oh.
agenda.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I can, we can figure out what that might look like. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe find a successful example, Bruce,
Yeah.
that another
Yeah,
community
that's,
has done.
it seems to me there's a couple of examples downstate. I'll find out.
Perfect. Thank
Find
you.
out.
And we'll put that on the agenda for the next meeting and discuss it then.
Yeah, this came up at a planning meeting at South Central COG. Greater New Haven is redoing their bike ped advisory for all those towns. And for my sins, that's another board I'm on. and that came up there. So let's see what they discussed.
Okay.
Yeah.
And at some point, I hate to even say this dirty word, cover your ears, everybody. We're gonna have to talk about dangerous bollards, 3 in a row. At some point, look at Dylan, he's happy about that one. Okay, so we can put that on during the winter, during the slow months.
I couldn't find the ones over the summer.
All right, everyone.
Okay.
Thank you tonight for a good meeting.
Yep, thank you.
Thank
We
you,
don't really
everyone.
have any minutes to approve, do we?
No, they weren't with the email.
Okay. No worries. So why don't we just go ahead and ask for a motion for adjournment?
All right.
Motion to adjourn.
All right. All right, everyone. Thank you for a good meeting. How was today for everyone?
Yeah, thanks, everyone.
Great.
Yeah, that was good.
Okay, good.
Good
All right.
meeting.
All
All
right.
right. Thank you, guys.
Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Good night. Bye.